Greetings, citizens of the internet! You can call me Nitro Indigo, and welcome back to my extremely riveting Let's Play of Klonoa for the Wii. In the last episode, Hupo revealed that he was a Teletubby Space Prince, and Klonoa confronted Guardius for the final time, but in his dying words, Guardius unleashed Nahatum. And in this episode, we're going into the final mission to fight Nahatum. Without further ado, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, and...
Wahoo! Come on, let's go! What are these?
Moon cannons that have been passed down for generations. We don't have much time. Listen closely, everyone. These cannons must be fired at the same time or they'll have no effect. The 5 of us will man the cannons. You two will have the job of handing us ammunition.
Ammunition?
Inflated enemies should do the trick, right?
He's here!
Corral, you stay back.
And here is the lumpy space pig, Nahatum. I also kind of like how we have all the people we've met along the way helping us in the final battle, because it really is feel like everything's coming together, and it really is a fat battle for Phantomile. It makes it feel like the world is alive, which is also what I was complimenting Kirby's Dream Land 3 for. But also, I know this battlefield is supposed to be an aurora, but it always reminded me of like this kind of sweet, it's like a fizzy ring that's rainbow coloured. And it also kind of looks like icing for some reason. So we're throwing enemy moves into cannons on Ice Aurora. And also his tongue can pick you up and damage you, and it's like those boss enemies in Kirby Triple Deluxe. Like how every boss in Kirby Triple Deluxe has an attack that takes Kirby into the background and it's really annoying. It's kind of like that, but this came first. As I said before, I wish there were more 2.5D games. At the same time, it makes it feel a bit more unique. I also feel like in Lunar Tales of Al, they don't do it as much with 2.5D. I've never actually played it, though I've seen like a couple of Let's Plays of it, and I've played a bit of the game, but I kind of suck at it, to be honest. I really hope that gets remade. But anyway, this boss, it's not really that hard the first phase, because spoiler alert, there are multiple phases to this final boss. I'm also not really sure what the name Nahatum is supposed to mean, but at the same time there doesn't really seem to be any kind of logic to the language in this game. It just seems like a kind of fictional language, whereas it don't necessarily mean anything in real languages. Apart from Klonoa, which comes to the Japanese and French words for black. I may or may not have said this before. And now here's the second phase. To be honest, I don't really like any of the final boss themes in this game, because like they don't. I forgot I was supposed to own that these crystal bits are not the actual creepy face. But I don't really like the final boss themes because they don't really sound like anything else in the game. They don't have like a motif that was used elsewhere, and they all sound a bit too calm, and they don't really sound like creepy or anything like they were probably trying to go for. They sound kind of forgettable. I don't really go back and listen to them unless I'm like listening to the whole soundtrack. And they also sound a bit deserty for some reason. And also the kind of voidness, for some reason it reminds me of the bottom of the Ancient Cistern in Skyward Sword, and I don't know why, even though that's not really the best comparison. A better comparison might be the place where the final boss of Night's Journey of Dreams takes place. Or something like that. Or any thousands of other games have void in them. And now you have to throw them at this blue crystal glowy wisp thingy of imminent death. It's slightly sometimes blue and sometimes pink. Let's say it's purple. Well, this has been going smoothly, but I just noticed that I'm down to 2 hit points, and I don't know if you can regain health at any point during this final boss, so I might have to do this phase again, or maybe I have to do the whole boss again. I can't remember how it goes. So yeah, I don't really find Nahatum a very interesting final boss, to be honest. But that kind of looks like a Cheshire cat for some reason. And now we're at the tricky bit.
Oh, man. That didn't go too well, guys.
Is everybody alright?
Listen to me. We're going to stay out of sight down here. The floating platform should offer some protection.
Guess there's no choice. We're counting on you two to pass the enemies to us between the platforms.
So in this phase, you have to double jump to over the pits in order to get the moves into the cannons. And this is the tricky part of the final boss because it requires like timing and reaction. It requires timing and reactions and stuff. I'm just repeating myself now, but like, oh, it has the exact same ring attack as what's it called again? The first boss, Rongo Longo. That's a bit interesting. Also, I don't know if I've said this already, but like all those monsters, like Joker summons, like for some reason they always remind me of a spore, and I don't actually know why. Like it looks like, oh look, here's my spore creation in a crystal, even though the only bosses he actually summons are Rongo Longo and Gelgbolm, which has a really weird name, by the way. Also, I don't get it. Why does armor make moves faster? That's like the opposite of how armor works, and we don't have to redo all the phases again. That's a relief. And also, this phase of Nahatum almost looks like it's made of lava for some reason. Well, I do know there is a reason for it. It's because it's orange. And also these crystals on it, which kind of remind me how the final boss of Spirit Track has a crystal on its forehead that you have to stab. Because I always like thinking of myself that I really like Spirit Tracks, but to be honest, I don't really like it as much as I think I do. Because like it took me years to find out words to have to say about it. I went into it completely spoiled, it was entirely my own fault. I don't really enjoy playing it, I just like enjoy thinking about my weird fanfic version of it. And I used to be a really annoying fangirl of Bernstein and Bucky Grovile. But we're not playing Spirit Tracks, we're playing Klonoa for the Wii. And I also know, like, I've noticed like during a bit earlier, that this version of Nahatum also you can see like it's part of its skeleton is exposed. Like I feel like Palladium's Drive sounds more like it could be a final boss theme than this because it has some kind of like energy and determination in it. If I could say this reminds me of anything, I could say this music reminds me of anything. It's the kind of forgettable first phase of the final boss themes in both of the 3DS Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. Because the parts everyone remembers are like the second phase, which have like basically like a remix of a motif that's been culminating throughout the game. The same applies to the final bosses of all Mystery Dungeon games, but in the DS ones and the GBA one technically, they didn't have like the final boss only had one phase because Pokemon. The final boss only had one phase because Pokemon. Although to be honest, with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon's battle system, it's hard to make interesting boss fights because at the end of the day you have to accommodate for that the player could be using any team, so the strategy just becomes whack them with your best attacks. I mean, the final boss of Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon has like an interesting spikes coming out of the ground and you have to avoid them gimmick, and I just noticed that they fired him and I didn't even realise that I'd filled all the cannons. I really am not paying attention, but at least this is going smoothly.
Alright, this is it, Klonoa. We're almost done.
What do you mean?
To finish him off, you're gonna have to shoot me into Nahatum with a wind bullet.
But Yupo, wait a minute. If I do that, what will happen to you?
Don't worry, it'll be fine. I promise. We'll always be together. I know we can win this. We just have to make this last shot.
Okay, let's do it.
you so much, everyone. Now all the nightmares have at last disappeared.
Hupo. You said that we'd always be together!
We are together, Klonoa. We're together forever.
Hupo, you're okay! Whoa!
It's okay. I'm just a little tired, that's all.
Don't worry, Hupo. I got you. I won't let you go. Are you feeling any better today, Hupo?
Yeah.
You just have to take it easy and rest. After all, you don't have to worry about Nahatum now. Hey, Hupo, listen. I was just wondering, are you gonna go back to the Moon Kingdom? But we'll see each other again soon, right? Hey, let's go and hang out in the field together, like we did before.
Listen, Klonoa.
Hmm?
I have to tell you something. You see, you're really... well, you really don't exist in this world.
What do you mean?
We needed to restore the balance of dreams. So I brought you here from your world to help us do that.
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, but it's true. This world that we're in, it isn't the world of your reality.
But that's impossible. You're wrong. There's no way that can be true. I mean, I remember my whole life here. I remember when I met you. And how we'd hang out and play together.
Well, that's because I actually created all those memories for you. But none of it really happened. You were just made to think that it all did.
You're lying! That's a lie! That can't be! You're lying to me!
No, it's not a lie. It's the truth. The strange dream that Gaudius talked about was caused because the reality that you come from is considered nothing more than a strange dream in this world.
It can't be.
When the feast sings her song so the world can be reborn, you won't be able to stay in this world anymore.
No way! I'm not going anywhere, and nobody's gonna make me go!
Klonoa, you don't understand. You don't know how much I wish I could change things.
What's that? Whoa! Huh?
Klonoa, the time has come for you to go back. Back to your Phantom Isle.
No way! But I don't want to go! I don't want to go! No! Hugo!
Klonoa! Klonoa!
Hugo! Hugo! No!
Well, wasn't that a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon ending? Now, since it's the credits, I suppose I should share my thoughts on the project. The first few episodes of this were definitely awkward. Like, I was thinking recently about how I kind of regret resetting the first level because I didn't know what I was talking about, and I also did that again in episode 8, because, like, in episode 1 specifically, like, the first stage is supposed to be like a lead into the music, that, like, the intro plays and then it leads straight into the level, but because I skipped the ending cutscene and I redid it, it just ended up not doing that. And also in like a few early episodes, I just kept stumbling around words constantly and like having things planned to say, but then I actually went to say them, I just ended up vomiting out the words all over the place, and like when I was talking about the manual and stuff. But also, the ending cutscene, to be honest, looks a lot better in the PS1 version, because like I didn't really understand, like, because the animation is so awkward, I couldn't really understand what they were trying to convey until I saw the PS1 version of the cutscene. Because in the PS1 version, like, it's like clear that when Klonoa starts shouting, Cupo like really regrets what he did and tries to pull Klonoa back, but it just looks really weird in the PS1 version. And when he sees the flower at the end, he's supposed to smile because he's happy that the world got restored. And also in like the PS1 version, it looks a lot better as well, because like all the grass is dead, and then when Luffy sings a song just after Klonoa disappears, the grass all comes back to life and it's really pretty. But this is the perfect segue to talk about the big problem that this game has in common with Fullmetal Alchemist 2003 that I mentioned earlier. Sadness for the sake of sadness. You see, the original plan for this ending cutscene was to show like all of Phantomile being restored, but unfortunately that had to be cut due to time constraints. Because of that, it just ends up feeling like Klonoa's sacrifice was for nothing, because we never actually get to see what he sacrificed his existence for, so it just ends up feeling like the plot twist ends up feeling a bit sudden, and it feels like, oh, that happened. It doesn't really have time to sink in, and it is like, and the bittersweetness kind of just doesn't really feel like it's there, because we don't get to see the sweet part, barely get to see the sweet part, sorry. We only get to see the bitter part. Or at least that's how I feel about it. I know some people really like this ending, and I can definitely understand why, because I can also understand why they did this, because this is supposed to be like Klonoa's origin story, and I did see it in advance because I played Empire of Dreams before this, and there's a plot twist at the end of Empire of Dreams where, spoiler alert, because I'm not going to Let's Play that game, basically what happens is that it turns out the whole game was a dream sequence. And I always interpreted it as being like Phantomile is real, but like Klonoa comes from a dream world, but the way they word it is deliberately ambiguous, so that some people think it's like the opposite, and that's fine. At the end of the day, stories are made better by your own interpretations. That's the whole point of the term death of the author. And did you see why I meant that this whole the map was a book? Because the whole game was a book. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some rescuing to do.